Martin. You almost thought I was getting another call too.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, first of all, name?
It's Lieutenant John Martin with the Harris County Sheriff's Office.
Okay. Hold on down too, yeah. Ready. Okay, first of all, name?
Okay, it's Lieutenant John Martin with the Harris County Sheriff's Office.
Okay, tell me what happened out here tonight.
Okay, we're at the 27,100 block of Glen Creek. The Sheriff's Office got a 911 call about 7:30 this evening. The caller said that his brother was at the house with him and that he was cooking meth. The caller also said that his brother had a gun and that he was afraid of his brother, so he was going to leave the scene. Now, the caller kept hanging up and then calling back, and each time he did, the story would change somewhat. At one point, he called back and he said that he had been shot in the chest. The caller indicated that he was in the woods behind the house, and during these calls, he would gasp for breath. He would say that he's dying. So, of course, our units got out here as quickly as they could. Once they got here, they set up a perimeter around the house and began searching the area looking for a gunshot victim. They could not find anybody, so they called out a K-9 unit. The K-9 unit searched the woods around this house extensively, still could not find anybody. They were able to determine that there was no gunshot victim, in fact. As our deputies were out here around the house, one of the deputies noticed a light come on in the garage. As the deputies began converging on the garage, they could hear movement inside, and at some point a suspect walked out of the garage holding a handgun. Our deputies began telling him to drop the gun. He raised the gun, pointed it directly at one of our deputies. Several of our units opened fire, and the suspect was struck multiple times. At this point, we don't know exactly how many shots were fired or exactly how many times the suspect was hit. He was transported to Bentob Hospital.
What about how many deputies actually involved in the shooting at the actual
That actually discharged?
Yeah,
I believe it's 3.
Okay.
We had more deputies than that on the scene, of course, but I believe there were only 3 that actually discharged their weapons.
And this turned out to be not a weapon, but a pellet gun. But
Well,
looked like a weapon.
that's exactly right. Once they got the scene under control, they did recover the weapon, and they found it to be a very realistic-looking BB gun.
I mean, it's dark as heck out here tonight. You can't tell. You see a weapon come up, you can't tell what a weapon is. It's basically a weapon.
Exactly. There are low-light conditions over there at the scene, but even if they had extremely good lighting, I don't believe that they would be able to tell at first blush that that's a BB gun and not an actual handgun.
They've had several other calls out here over the period of time, haven't they?
This location has had a number of calls, yes.
I mean, weapon-type charges or weapon-type disturbances?
I don't have all the
disturbances?
information on exactly what all the calls were, but they did comment that they have had several calls at that location recently.
Okay, so what happens from here now?
Well, of course, the suspect is still in surgery. There's no indication at this point of his condition or if his wounds are life-threatening, but of course, once he does recover and is released from the hospital, then of course he will be facing some serious charges.
Okay, what would most likely be filed on this?
Most likely aggravated assault.
Okay, all right. Okay, I guess.